In the heart of Afghanistan, surrounded by mountains that have sheltered them for 8 centuries, lives a people who look different from everyone around them. Their eyes carry an epicanthic fold. Their cheekbones are broad and high. Their faces carry the unmistakable signature of the East Asian steppe in the middle of Central Asia, thousands of kilometers from Mongolia. They are the Hazara, Afghanistan's third-largest ethnic group. And for most of their recorded history, their appearance has been used against them. It marked them as outsiders in their own country. It made them visible targets. It told their persecutors exactly who they were, wherever they went. The world knows the Hazara primarily through their suffering. The Taliban massacres of the 1990s, the destruction of the Bamiyan Buddhas, the renewed persecution after 2021, the desperate refugee journeys to Europe and Australia. The Hazara are among the most persecuted peoples on Earth and have been for over a century. But the question that almost nobody stops to ask is this: where did they actually come from? The popular answer, descendants of Genghis Khan's Mongol armies, is partly true, but the full genetic story, revealed by modern DNA analysis, is considerably more complex, more ancient, and more fascinating than the legend allows. And it tells us something profound about how the greatest land empire in human history left its genetic mark on the world. To understand the Hazara, you first have to understand what made them visible. Afghanistan is an extraordinarily diverse country ethnically, inhabited across centuries of migration and conquest. Pashtuns, Tajiks, Uzbeks, Turkmens, Imaks, Baloch, and dozens of smaller groups share this land. But the Hazara stand out in a way that most other groups do not. Their physical features, the broader facial structure and the epicanthic eye fold associated with East Asian populations, are immediately visible. They have a distinctly different appearance from the Pashtun and Tajik majorities. They cannot pass. They cannot hide in a crowd. This visibility has been their greatest vulnerability. When the Pashtun king Abdul Rahman Khan launched his campaign of forced subjugation in the 1890s, his armies did not need lists to identify targets. The Hazara were identifiable by sight. The genocidal campaign that followed killed up to 60% of the entire Hazara population. This was one of the largest demographic catastrophes in Afghan history, largely forgotten by the outside world. When the Taliban came to power in the 1990s, the same visibility made the Hazara immediately identifiable. In Mazar-e-Sharif in 1998, fighters went house to house, identifying Hazara men by their faces. Thousands died in a matter of days. Human Rights Watch documented the killings as a systematic atrocity. The world largely looked away. The features that made the Hazara targets are the same features that point toward their origins. And those origins are among the most dramatic in the history of human migration. In 1221, Genghis Khan's armies besieged the city of Bamiyan. The siege was brutal, even by the standards of Mongol warfare. A grandson of the Khan died in battle. In retaliation, the great Khan ordered every living thing in the city killed. The valley that had once housed one of the most important Buddhist pilgrimage sites in the ancient world was left empty. But armies that conquer territory must also garrison it. Holding this territory required leaving soldiers behind, lots of them. The Mongol Empire at its height controlled the largest contiguous land empire in human history, from China to Central Europe. The traditional account holds that the community descends from Mongol soldiers who intermarried with the local Iranian-speaking populations. The word Hazara itself may derive from the Persian Hazar, meaning thousand, a reference to the Mongol military unit. This account is supported by multiple lines of evidence. Hazaragi, their language, is a dialect of Persian with Mongolian loanwords. Some remote communities were reportedly still speaking Mongolian as late as the 19th century, but while the physical features are consistent with Mongol ancestry, the DNA tells a more nuanced story than simple descent. Modern genetic analysis of the Hazara population has confirmed what the physical features suggest. The Hazara carry substantial East Asian genetic ancestry. A comprehensive 2019 study analyzing hundreds of Hazara individuals from Afghanistan and Pakistan found that Hazara carry approximately 57.8% Mongolian-related ancestry, the highest proportion of East Asian ancestry of any population in Central or South Asia. But the genetic picture is more complex than simple Mongol descent. The Hazara genome reflects a genuine admixture event. On the East Asian side, the Hazara are genetically closest not to modern Mongolians, but to Turkic-speaking populations from northwest China, the Uyghur, Kazakh, and Kyrgyz. This suggests that the East Asian ancestry may have come from the broader Turkic and Central Asian steppe world that the Mongol armies drew upon. On the western side, the Hazara carry substantial West Eurasian ancestry consistent with the Iranian-speaking populations of Central Asia, the Tajiks, and related groups. This is the ancestry of the local women with whom the Mongol soldiers and administrators intermarried over generations. The result is a population that is genuinely and measurably distinct from all of its neighbors. Not fully Mongol, not fully Iranian, but a stable admixed population that formed in a specific place and has maintained its genetic identity across 8 centuries of endogamy and persecution. The Hazara are not simply descendants of Genghis Khan's soldiers. They are the genetic signature of an empire, the living record of what happens when the largest land conquest in human history settles into a mountain valley and stays. The Hazarajat, the land of the Hazara, is centered on the Bamiyan Valley in central Afghanistan. And the Bamiyan Valley was, for centuries, one of the most important cultural crossroads in the ancient world. The giant Buddha statues, the tallest standing Buddhas in the world carved into the sandstone cliffs, were built when Bamiyan was a major stopping point. Buddhist pilgrims, Zoroastrian merchants, Nestorian Christian traders, and early Islamic scholars all passed through the valley. The art and architecture of Bamiyan reflected centuries of cultural exchange between East and West. The Hazara, settled in this valley after the Mongol conquests, became the custodians of this heritage. The Buddhas that the Taliban deemed un-Islamic in 2001 had been respected by the surrounding Hazara community for over 600 years. The destruction was understood by the Hazara not merely as an attack on ancient monuments, but as an attack on their home and history. They remain the genetic and cultural signature of a land that the dominant narrative had always treated as belonging to others. The history of the Hazara in the modern period is a history of survival against systematic attempts at elimination. After the genocidal campaigns of the 1890s, which may have killed more than half the Hazara population, the survivors were reduced to servitude. Hazara were sold as slaves as late as the early 20th century. They were excluded from education, government positions, and political representation. The word Hazara became in many contexts a term of contempt. The Taliban's first period of rule brought renewed mass violence. The massacre at Mazar-e-Sharif in 1998 killed between 2,000 and 8,000 Hazara. Similar massacres occurred in Bamiyan and elsewhere. The Hazara were targeted not only for their ethnicity, but for their Shia faith in a regime that treated Shia Islam as heresy. The years between 2001 and 2021 represented the first period when Hazara had meaningful access to education, political representation, and professional life. Hazara women in particular made striking educational advances during this period, with literacy rates rising dramatically in the Hazarajat. The Taliban's return to power in 2021 ended this period abruptly. Hazara communities have again been subjected to targeted killings and systematic displacement. Today, significant Hazara diaspora communities exist in Iran, Pakistan, Australia, Canada, Germany, and across Europe, built by waves of refugees. The Hazara are often described as the victims of history. That description is accurate but incomplete. They are also the products of history. A community whose very existence was created by one of the most dramatic events in human history, the Mongol conquests of the 13th century. The Mongol conquests killed millions and destroyed civilizations, but they also created new genetic identities that persist to the present day. The Hazara are an admixed population formed at a specific moment, shaped by 8 centuries of isolation in the mountains of central Afghanistan. Their survival against repeated attempts at elimination is itself historical evidence. It demonstrates that a community with a coherent identity can persist. The broad cheekbones and the unmistakably East Asian signature in a Central Asian face connect them to one of the most consequential migrations. They are not marks of foreignness. They are marks of history. A history that the DNA is now making impossible to deny. 57% Mongolian ancestry in a Persian-speaking population. A community created by the greatest land empire in history. The Hazara were never outsiders. They are as much a part of the history of that land as any of the peoples who tried to erase them. Modern DNA science has made that truth permanent. Subscribe to Hidden Origins, because every people has a story that history forgot. Did you know about the Hazara before this video? Did you know their DNA carries the Mongol signature? Drop a comment below.